Senator Cornyn. Senator Cornyn.
I'll have more to say later.
All right, guys, make a hold, please.
You still have concerns about Ken Paxton?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I know a lot of you guys probably heard by now that Ken Paxton, the candidate that President Trump endorsed, was finally able to defeat John Cornyn, the RINO who's been siding with Senator John Thune throughout the Senate. And this is great news because the RINO establishment, they put a lot of money and effort into getting John Cornyn reelected. But fortunately, the people of Texas, they said they're not going to reelect another RINO, so John Cornyn was just voted out. And CNN is having a complete meltdown because they wanted John Cornyn, who's an easy target for James Tallarico, and a lot more that we're going to be covering throughout this video, because there's another RINO who was just defeated in Texas that no one else is talking about. Let us get into it by starting with this video of John Cornyn being confronted as to why President Trump did not endorse them. Play clip.
Do you think the president flinched in endorsing you because he didn't think you could win?
You know, I really don't think it was about me. I think it's very different from the Cassidy and Massey situation, because I've been a Trump ally, as you point out. I think he got frustrated with the Senate not able to get what he wanted when he wanted it. And as you know, the president can be a pretty impatient guy, and I certainly understand that. He's a chief executive guy. He's not a legislative guy. And so I think he just got frustrated, and he wanted to send a message.
That was Senator John Cornyn recognizing that the reason why President Trump did not support him and support Ken Paxton instead is because the president is frustrated with the Senate, because the Senate is not working for the American people. And John Cornyn right here, he's the right-hand man for John Thune. And President Trump has been demanding the passage of the Save America Act, which they haven't done anything to pass that bill so far. So rightfully so, the president is upset with the Senate. He's frustrated with these senators, these RINOs that aren't doing anything to further his agenda and what the American people voted for. And here we have Fox News, Laura Ingraham on that very same point. Play clip.
Let's get Matt into this. Matt, look, the fact of the matter is, if Cornyn wanted to be more popular with the Trump voters, it wasn't that hard to do over the last couple of years, was it? I mean, he could have really lobbied for that Save America Act. He could have pushed to get rid of the filibuster. He could have been a warrior on these issues. I mean, other Republicans have straddled that line with Trump, but he didn't do it.
Well, Laura, we predicted that Paxton was going to win this thing a couple months on your show months ago. And it's because the MAGA vote is just so intense. And the country club Republicans are shrinking and going away in the suburban areas. He could have done a lot of things. I mean, this whole world of Tillis and McConnell and unfortunately Cornyn and others, they're killing themselves because they do not realize the Democrats are going to nuke the filibuster. They're telling you that right now.
He's absolutely right, because once the Democrats, they take back power, this country will be unrecognizable, because the Democrats have stated it over and over and over that once they take power, they'll make Puerto Rico a state, they'll make Washington, D.C. a state, they'll expand the Supreme Court, they'll open the borders. So what you saw under President Joe Biden will be nothing compared to what's coming, which is one of the reasons why you see Democrats here so worried, is because a MAGA candidate and American First candidate, Ken Paxton, just won the primary to face James Tallarico, which is one of the reasons why we see CNN having a complete meltdown. And here we have a clip of Van Jones having a complete meltdown. Play clip.
Okay. Well, I mean, this is a bad night for America. You have a good man running against a bad man, and the bad man won. And just as a parent, that's tough.
That was Van Jones on CNN claiming that John Cornyn is a good man and that Ken Paxton, the Attorney General of Texas, is a bad man. So what you're seeing right here is a complete and utter meltdown by CNN, because what they wanted the weaker candidate, who's John Cornyn, to face James Tallarico, who's a complete weirdo in my opinion. And we're going to get to him in later videos. And here we have another clip of another analyst over at CNN having another meltdown. Play clip.
I'm going to be one of those to put some respect on Cornyn's name. You're right. Cornyn was not just the NRSC chair. I believe Cornyn was he was the Senate Majority Whip. Cornyn, and this is one of the things that people understand when it comes to this isn't an issue of loyalty at all. And if you ask Republicans themselves across the board, online and otherwise, they'll tell you Cornyn didn't support the SAVE Act. Do you know what? Cornyn actually co-introduced the legislation for the SAVE Act with Chip Roy, and I can't remember the other senator who was behind them. So they have this notion of Cornyn that is just simply not.
Let me get this straight. Now CNN cares about the Save America Act, when for months they've been peddling lies that the Save America Act will disenfranchise voters, which is completely false. And he's right. John Cornyn actually co-sponsored the original Save Act, not the Save America Act. And the thing is, a lot of these senators in the Senate, what they do, they act like they support the bill in public, the Save America Act, but in private they're saying something completely different. And a lot of them, they don't want to nuke the filibuster like John Cornyn. And John Thune, he's the same thing, because what he's doing, he's saying, oh, I want to pass the Save America Act, I want to do whatever it takes. But in reality, what is he doing? And this is what you're seeing with these rhinos. They act like they support the president. They act like they support his agenda. But in reality, they're working behind the scenes to sabotage the president and his agenda and what the people voted for. But what these rhinos are failing to recognize is that President Trump still controls the Republican Party and has a say in which candidate gets elected. And here we have Scott Jennings on that very same point. Play clip.
Look, the bottom line is this. If Donald Trump wants you to be the nominee of the Republican Party for virtually any office, he can will it into existence. And that has happened again tonight in Texas. There's also an attorney general campaign going on underneath this. I don't think we've called it yet, but there's a strong undercurrent of who's for Trump and who isn't in that race. And it looks like the more Trump-aligned candidate is going to win down there as well. So, you know, we're learning this lesson over and over again.
That was Scott Jennings on the president's influence over the Republican Party, and he mentioned the attorney general, the race for attorney general in Texas, and we had a candidate that posed as a MAGA candidate, and he got completely destroyed. But before we look at that, let's look at this graph that shows the number of candidates that President Trump endorsed and the percentage of those candidates that won their primaries. Play clip.
Well, 8 times, he won 8. Trump endorsed on the U.S. House level 101 times. He's won 101 times. Trump endorsed U.S. Senate. He's won 8 times, and we're about to find out tonight whether or not that will be number 9, Laura. So 50 minutes.
So as you can see, President Trump, his influence is still strong because out of all the candidates that he endorsed in their primaries for U.S. Senate, for the House, and for governor, 100% of those candidates won their primaries. And here we have that video of Chip Roy, who essentially was running for attorney general in Texas, and he lost that race. And here we have a video of Chip Roy in 2024 endorsing Governor Ron DeSantis over President Trump. Play clip.
And I was just at multiple events with Ron DeSantis where he's shaking their hands and looking them in the eye while Donald Trump hangs out in his basement in Florida, afraid to actually debate. What's he afraid of? Look, I'm happy to debate him if he wants to anywhere. I'm just a little old congressman. Why won't he debate Ron DeSantis or any of the other candidates? I think he should.
Why do you think he won't get on the debate stage with the other Republicans?
Well, I mean, like I can tell you from Ron DeSantis' perspective is because he would clean his clock. I mean, if you compare the records, they're not comparable.
That was Chip Roy, who was running to become the state's attorney general, and he lost that election last night because here we have the results right here where he got destroyed by Middleton, where Chip Roy got, 45% of the votes, and Mays Middleton got 55% of the votes for Attorney General of Texas. And Chip Roy's not the only one that lost an election big last night, because we have Al Green, and if you don't know who this guy is, we're going to get into him in a bit, but here's Al Green, a Democrat. We're talking about one of the leftist Democrats you'll ever find in the House, and here are those results. Play clip.
A jarring one to see, I think, just in terms of where expectations were. Green won Fort Bend in a landslide in the preliminary, getting crushed by Menifee here in his home base. And again, that's Harris County. And so our decision desk is saying that long-time Democratic incumbent Al Green, he, among other things, if you watch the State of the Union address every year, he's often prominent there for a variety of reasons. But Al Green losing here.
As you can see, the leftist woke Al Green in the House lost his election, his primary, to another Democrat called Menifee. And Menifee got roughly 69% of the votes. And Al Green only got 31%. And Al Green, he's been in the House for a very, very long time. And every year, he essentially goes to the State of the Union and try to pull a stunt. And here's him last year holding up a sign that read, "Black people aren't apes," when no one asked. No one asked. Because every year he's just protesting for some weird reason. And here's that video play clip.
Thank you, Congressman. Congressman, what are you going to do for the rest of the evening?
And that brings us to the end of this video. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below. Also, please consider liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.